Welcome to a Gunfire build guide. Today we're showcasing Xing Zhe's Shadow Gale, the most interesting Season 7 build that when properly set up, you don't even need to hit a single button to win. Shadow Gale will deal so much damage and will be so fast you'll keep clearing monsters as you sit back and watch. As you saw in the intro, it even killed Gluttony through his Devour phase, and the setup in the gameplay was not even the most optimal. Now, what if you don't have Xing Zhe? He's a DLC character and you might not have him, and I stated that you could play any other hero, but I want to specify a few outliers that may improve in the Shadow Gale category. If you want to follow the build, kinda like the Xing Zhe's build, Albai is probably the second best pickup. He is going to weapon scale as much as Xing Zhe. He's just not gonna get to weapon levels, but you can keep doing damage with your primary skill, which will keep the uptime of DPS very high. He's a great pickup. Another great pickup is Lei Luo. You can go for a very high damage sniper, even though it will not deal as much damage in the Shadow Gale category. Shadow Gale will help you clear out while you snipe away all the elites and bosses. So it's a bit more of a synergetic combination. So it was a good pickup to get as well. Now for the different approach to Shadow Gale, is instead of focusing on the weapon damage, we can focus on just the element, since it's a base corrosion element. We can just go with Crown Prince, start with the classic Painkiller if you want. You can just shred, as you will proc one element of corrosion, and you can proc all of the other two elements, so Tri-Elemental is really strong. Or if you have Yo-Yo, you can go full on corrosion and just blast with Shadow Gale. It is pretty solid, I've tried it. It is really strong. You just scale the corrosion, you scale the damage, you put the slows. It's really good. But before we show the Xing Zhe's ascensions, we need to start with Gale to explain and to properly showcase why we are building the way we are building. Shadow Gale is a bit weird to understand at first, but the gist of it is you obtain a few stacks when you use different types of ammo. So normal will get you 1 stack, large will get you 5, and special will get you 15. When dealing weapon damage, it costs a certain number of stacks, and you apply Gale up to 5 seconds. And you can stay up to 5 stacks. If you can even achieve that, it's a bit hard to achieve early. It will deal an amount of corrosion with elemental damage with a 30% effect chance. So it's not going to proc immediately, but you can just do fusion effects, like Miasma, it's really good early. And then later on, once we get to level 8, Shadow Gale comes into play. After reapplying a few stacks, in this case, after gilding like 15 at level 8 and then 12 at level 10, we generate a Shadow Gale, which is this little drone that will start proccing damage like Gale, and Gale by itself eventually can basically self-sustain. And that's the core spoken of. Now, these are all of the upgrades that you can get for it. Bone Eroding Gale is quite a good upgrade. It will increase the base damage and the trigger interval, which is really strong, but it's the movement speed and the coverage that will help you, especially later on in the stages, to get this build fully automated and going from one place to another. So you should not focus too much early on this, but later on, this is a must at 2 and at maximum. Layers of Shadow Gale is very important as well. This increases the max stacks an enemy can have, but it's the defeat part that when at least they have 3 stacks and they get defeated, it spreads to an enemy. And when spreading to an enemy, the Shadow Gale can ramp up faster and keep it up by basically refreshing its duration. Then when we have Multiple Decay, which is a 50% chance, and you will have 2, so eventually it will be a 100% chance to apply 1 additional stack. If the enemy has 5 or less stacks, it can apply an additional elemental effect and 80% of base damage per elemental effect on the enemy. So this is really good if you go for a multiple elemental, especially if you don't want to go with Xing Zhe. This will get you way more damage. Then we have Blade Spectre. Every 1 second, you deal a percentage of your main weapon damage to the target. For each stack of Gale on the target, of course, increases by 8. But it's not just this. because it allows us to use our weapon damage, it actually applies in the entirety of our weapon. This includes its element, this includes its inscriptions. So there's some crazy weapons that you can fully make to just completely obliterate enemies just with this. I also notice in the gameplay you'll see that it applies a Gemini. In this case I was using the Spore Gemini and it was applying just like I was shooting. So it's a pretty interesting way of just building this. For Xing Zhe specifically, we want to try and find this. This is really hard to find after the first pick, because we start with Shadow Gale, and this is also a starting pick. But if you can find this, which I couldn't in my run, it will increase even more the damage output. So you saw the damage in the intro, now imagine with this. And then firepower upgrade, this is just a weapon damage upgrade. It doesn't need to be this, you can go with any other setup. If you manage to go low life, you can probably go Blade Dancer. If you have airbag, it's pretty good. It's just really all damage. You can also pick up Lucky Shot, as since it's scaling from our weapon, it also uses our Lucky Shot. This is a great pickup. If you don't have the right scrolls yet, this can ramp up your damage pretty high. So it's up to you. Now, in terms of priorities, you start with Shadow Gale Core. That's the basics. You want to focus to make it fully automated is Layers of Shadow, at least level 6, so it spreads out and gets you max stacks. And Multiple Decay, specifically so you apply additional decay. So it starts to spread out with more decays, with more stacks. So the refreshing of the Shadow Gales start to happen sooner. Then it is a multiple choice. If you feel like you want them more clear, you will want to focus more on the bone eroding. If you want more damage, you will want to focus on Blade Spectre. Especially since we are Xing Zhe, I would focus a bit more on Blade Spectre. And then go into bone eroding. And then switch it up depending if I'm feeling like the clear is better or worse without the max out on this. It's time for the Ascension. And the reason we just went Xing Zhe is mostly for his right side, the Heavenly Harm, and is mostly for the chi stacks to get additional weapon levels. This one is amazing, especially because we will pick the Spirit Blessing that doubles our chi stacks. The concentration essence is okay, especially early, but we will barely shoot later on. But if you want to shoot, this is great. Aura protection is solid, especially early. It will make you tanky. Ancient Etching is pretty nice, actually. It will happen to add some randomness to the weapon, but because Shadow Gale can get weapon inscriptions, this also applies to it. So it's a good thing to have. Shifting Stars is amazing. We want this maxed out. And Total Location is just a boost to everything. From the other parts, we really don't need anything in particular. You can pick up a bunch of stuff in the left side if you want to, because as you know, and if you don't know, when Xing Zhes get to 1 HP, it throws away his primary skill, and if it kills, it recovers his entire energy shield, so it's a bit of a lifesaver. So every time you don't have anything in the right, you just focus on stuff on the left to try and get basic cudgel hits, more damage. Good chance is not gonna come up, but it's okay. Hit multiple times is very strong. The cooldown is not fully required, and the first cudgel is pretty strong. This will help you stay tanky early, and that should be it for its entire build setup. So now we'll follow up with gameplay. Gameplay, we start with overconsumption to make the early game pretty easy. In the rune array, up to your choice. I went with Anchor this time, but I've been trying out a lot of them. They are pretty easy. In the Spiritual Remnant, we want this one, Primordial Unity. In the Runestone Merchant, we just want to start with Shadow Gale Core. This is the important, so the other upgrades can start to show up. Now, for the Unity, it's very important to note, it doubles our chi. So we want to focus the most of our upgrades in the chi. So we scale it up pretty high. Also, it generates chi as we play along, so we don't always need to spam our secondary. Here we start with auto protection, so we can be a bit tanky. First scroll gives us efficient firepower, allows us to spam a little bit more of our secondary to keep up with chi. We got a nice start, and we got the +2 upgraded Gale in the Bone Eroding, which immediately got up to 6. So now when the Bone Eroding starts, it's going to be really nice. We didn't got anything here specifically. Here we got more chain targets, and here we upgraded to efficient power, just so we can kind of spam more to keep up with the chi costs. Here we got another really nice one. We got multiple decay with +2. So in this run, we started out pretty strong. Here's our first elite. You can start it. It's very annoying to do damage early. The bone eroding is there, but it's very annoying to start going, as we need to generate a lot of the stacks. And early on, the stacks are super hard. For this pickup, we have, 3 good ones. We had 2 lucky shot ones and a recovery one. I kind of picked up Genesis, but Lone Ranger or Copper Shot would have been actually pretty great. Here in the Rune Merchant, we want to prioritize upgrades to everything for Gale. We saw Bone Eroding and Multiple Decay. Since we already have a level 6 Bone Eroding, I saw Blade Spectre and I decided it's a bit early, but might as well just have it. So we can start to get some damage in early on, even though it starts to stack only later as we get more upgrades to the level of the baseline of Bone Eroding. Here we got Convergent Flows, which gets us a bunch of weapon levels. It's really important. We got Enhanced Skull Enhancer, which is pretty nice. Allows us to kind of recycle what we don't care. We didn't find anything else useful. In this one, we got quite an interesting upgrade. We got Reinforced Eggshell to be a bit more tanky. And we decided to pick up a lightning weapon. So once the Bone Eroding starts to activate, we do more damage. Here we have Ancient Etchings, and we got a Reinforced Eggshell to get upgraded. Here we're just picking up some upgrades for the boss, but we really don't need anything specific. We just focused on getting lightning weapon damage. In this case, we switch lightning damage on our sash. As you can see, it's a bit tough to get the stacks going. But once the stacks start going, you can proc it. See, now it's starting to proc miasma. Now we proc again. We proc another Gale stack. And we got the first boss down. It can be better, it can be easier, but we got a little bit unlucky. But it is pretty strong. We got elemental power to spread out the elements later on. That's pretty good. This one, we could have went for any one. We got for total eradication, just for global damage. In the Runestone Merchant, we saw another Bone Eroding. We could have went for layers of Shadow Gale, and to be honest, I should have went for layers. But I just kind of wanted a little bit more damage on the Gale. So I ended up just repicking another Shadow Bone Gale. Now, here's the classic. Rearranging everything. Make sure everything is up to the maximum amount we can. We went at least 8 stacks on the baseline Shadow Gale. So now we have Shadow Gale core to level 10. So now we can start to get some of the drones to start hitting up pretty hard. We got Runic Echo. Runic Echo is actually pretty good if you can pick this up in your run. It will increase the Shadow Gale bonus. In this Peddler, we just saw a bit of a chance to get more movement speed. Movement speed early is pretty strong. We picked up another sash, so we keep up with the lightning damage. But eventually we want an actual weapon damage, especially end of Act 2, early Act 3. Here we finally saw Layers of Gale, and we picked it up. Now we can start to get some stacks above the 5 cap. So we need to rearrange everything again. In this goblet, we didn't saw anything else. We went for extra shackle. In this run, I kind of went for more of the shackles so I can keep up with G stacks. But as you can see, now we generate the Shadow Gale, and the Shadow Gale starts dealing some massive amounts of damage. In the scrolls, we kind of got a pretty solid lightless shield, so we can be tanky, and we decided to upgrade. We're checking around to see what's the best. But, you know, upgrading Ostrich Rider is a pretty good pickup. Just more movement speed, and you don't have the cooldown on your dash. And here, you can see a nice area clear. We got the nice Elite Evasion, and you can see Shadow Gale just going on. Because we have 2 of the bone eroding, they're pretty very fast. They're just running around, proccing elements. This goblet, we got another Smashing Dust, which allows us to give you every 1 HP. Here we're trying to proc Shadow Gale, but this weapon is very, very slow. We're mostly using it just to proc miasmas. We should use a more fast shooting weapon. Now with this chest, we had some interesting ones. I thought about Fisher Bear Paw, but I'm not sure it would work. It cuts our damage in half, but increases the projectiles. It would be a bit of a complicated thing, so I went with Bullet Light because Shadow Gale does use Lucky Shot. In this one, we got some pickups. We went for Elemental Bestowment because we were always proccing Element. In this Peddler, we decided to upgrade Enhanced Genesis. There wasn't anything specific. Here's another Clear. And you can start to see, as soon as we have a Shadow Gale going, start to do quite some strong damage. Especially in this Elite Invasion, you can start to see them both going wild and proccing elements. We got Spirit Feline, which is fantastic. So now our defenses are pretty much solid for quite a while. We got another concentrated effect, so we can shoot and not lose the chi effects. We picked up another Multiple Decay. This will help us with sustaining our Shadow Gale. In this goblet, we got Total Eradication again, which is always pretty nice. Here's our second boss. You can see here, I used a very slow weapon. As you can see the stacks in the bottom, they are very, very slow to start stacking. I am stacking Miasma, but I should have used a faster shooting weapon. The Miasma is pretty good, but he is also having elemental armor. But you can see now that the Shadow Gale is out, it's starting to do some crazy damage, and I only had 1 out. So if I had 2 of them, the boss would have went way, way faster. For this goblet, we picked up another concentrated essence, so we can shoot, and we got Spirit Bible, which is a pretty good pickup, since this is an elemental skill damage based thing. We got another Blade Spectre, especially because we're going to Act 3. We want to start to focus and pick up a strong weapon, so we can use these Blade Spectres to deal massive amounts of damage while the Shadow Gale is out. So after rearranging, we got our third blessing. And here, we then got anything particularly important. We got Steady Profit, so maybe we can get some more important stuff. So we got lucky and actually got the Phantom Peddler, but we didn't see anything particularly strong for us. We could have gone for an enhanced mid-air strike, but we always have to jump. So kind of just went for the ammo. Here we have an elite invasion. We're starting to proc our enhanced gales. And you can see the Gale is starting to do some damage. Thunderstorm does have a baseline strong flat damage, so it hurts a lot. While it's not going to be our final weapon, it's still a good weapon to just progress. Here we got the final level up on Concentrated. And here you see in the elite, we still have a Shadow Gale going on, and he's starting to do some damage. In this chest pickup, we find a Flowing Wind, which you don't need, so you go for Merchant Addict, because you already have Spirit Feline. And now we picked up our Wild Hunt, and the Wild Hunt is going to start getting some damage in. Here from the little dragon pouch, we got the greedy choice, and nothing really else. And here we upgrade our weapon, and we have a Will Saw and a Wild Hunt, so we went for Spores to try and get the most amount of our damage. And now in this Rune Stone Merchant, we're looking for anything, but we found pretty much nothing that we particularly wanted. We kind of want the weapon levels, so now we're just gonna rearrange and get everything boosted. Make sure we get at least level 6 in most of the important ones. And after this rearranging of stuff, we can see a bit of the automation. Like you can see just how fast they are clearing. We don't even need to shoot, they're just have their mind of their own. They just go around, they kind of refresh their own selves. So, just appreciate sometime that this build can just do this. For this goblet, we didn't got anything specifically. We got an unstable phantom, just in case. Here we got a life saver, just in case we need it, but... We got piercing bullet, which is a double damage. We got double on the skill damage and double on weapon damage. Here we got another elite invasion. And this elite invasion is a bit easier now that those Shadow Gales are up and running and can double stack pretty easily and self-sustain. From here is the AI. The AI sometimes goes somewhere, so sometimes we have to shoot, but shooting is still pretty okay. Energy storage here was fine with a pickup. Here we got more chain targets, so we can just sustain our chi easier. Here we got unstoppable phantom, so we can strike more. Here we got brutal gloves, which is great because we're never gonna crit. In this Act 3 boss, this peddler give us a little assassin realm of corrosion. It's not very important. We are now, our focus is just to get the most damage possible on our weapon. In this case, just increase the weapon level of Hunt. And here you can start to see, now that the Shadow Gales are out, they're starting to hurt the boss quite a lot. The problem is just starting the boss sometimes is annoying, because you don't have the Shadow Gale out, but you can see it's insane. Merciless combo, pretty great. Just more damage for our gun. Well, in this goblet, we got level 2 water protection, so we can be a bit tanky. In this rune selection, we try and find our final one, which is weapon level, but it's not coming up. So we can focus on the elemental progressing runes, like in this case, elemental expert, we can do corrosion expert. Now we just need to rearrange everything to make sure everything is at the maximum level that we can possibly do. Trying to fit in the last Blade Spectre. It's a bit annoying. We don't have everything set up. In the last Spirit Blessing, we saw that we could change to a change overload. This gives us general runic and powers, and general powers is pretty strong. Allows us to now just get everything to maximum as well as we can, as maximum as we can. And every one above gives us a little extra damage. Here's our first elite of Act 4, and you can see it's gone. We have too much damage. This selection didn't give us anything. Here you can start to see another elite invasion. We are still very tanky, so you can kind of just watch as the damage goes on. Just doing so much off-screen damage. Here we try to search for a decent scroll. We ended up fighting a pretty good one, which is Dual Edge. But it's kind of too late for Dual Edge, so, well, if we had it earlier, it would be pretty insane. Here we actually hit a pretty interesting one. Since this weapon is very early, we kind of wanted to upgrade it. And we decided to do a full reroll, and it hit all of the 3 green ones, and it gave us lightning damage. So now we actually have lightning damage on our weapon. You're going to start to see that it's pretty strong, as now we are stacking miasma as well. And it just does some incredible damage. Here I just decided to let it do its thing without shooting at all, so it is pretty fast. Here we saw 3 decent ones. We got premium membership super late, so not even worth the pickup, but now we got shifting stars, the first shifting stars of the run. So we didn't even got shifting stars at maximum, and we got our 3 protection. So this run, we didn't have basically any cheese stackings. We didn't got level weapon boost relic, and this was our highlight hunt. And this is the final boss. So yeah, as you can see, they're just kind of self-sustaining over there, and they just do so much damage. And we don't even have a fully upgraded build, and is just chewing through the devour phase, which usually it's very hard. We're just trying to shoot a bit, so we just sustain the stacks. And here is the clip beside you. It's just demolishing with all of the damage, the lucky shot, elemental procs. And we finished with almost a 3 million max damage. And here is the final showcase of the build, the player card. Our wild hunt, you can't fully see it, but it was pretty good. He had a ton of lucky shot. He had the plant spores on hit, which helped a lot with the damage. We only got it to level 24. We could have went way higher if we got luckier. And yeah, the shifting stars, we only got 1. If we got to level 3, it would have been crazier. At least we got convergent flows. And for our augments, we got pretty good ones. Especially the charge overload at the end was pretty good. And for our runes, here's how it finished. We got pretty much maxed out everything except this one. That Blade Spectre kind of got unlucky, and he got only level 6. I feel like this rune array is a bit trickier. I've been using condensation array a lot more, and it's been helping more to sustain everything, especially to get everything to high levels. But this was the baseline, everything you need for the build, except for the weapon level. So this was pretty good. We got a decent amount of stuff in the terms of scrolls. Could have went better. And the rune output was 84% of our damage. We also didn't shoot a lot to try and showcase that it can be just self-sufficient. Anyway, that is the full showcase of this build. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe, and see you on the next build.